Welcome to the Elevator Adventure. This episode, see Iris, thwarted by an old man, become the elevator's most tragic decider in crisis. To escape this fiery gathering, the other survivors bolted for the other side, with Iris hot on their heels. But as everyone zoomed past like wind, the knickknacks and the table suddenly felt the coal tipping over. Turns out, after the explosion, the top of the tower was finally fed up and decided to perform an elegant split. In an instant, the flames started to fade, as if saying, "This is getting boring. It melted our here." Iris' head was about to give way like the tower top, and it couldn't take it anymore. Suddenly, people uncontrollably slid towards the glass window like laundry in a washing machine, creating a breathtaking scene and almost forming them into a giant human puzzle. Fortunately, at the 11th hour, Iris mustered her courage and struggled to scramble up. Yet the scene before her still left her dumbfounded, as a coin from the chandelier just dropped onto the teetering piano like it had been enchanted. The only kid who escaped couldn't celebrate for long before being sucked into bigger trouble, while that coin returned to its home in the water. When everything settled down, Iris found herself seemingly the last person standing at the tower's peak. Just when she was crying over her ring, she suddenly heard a boy's cries for help. The boy's mother had hidden him in a cabinet during the disaster. Seeing this, Iris dashed over to rescue him. But then, the other tower top gave in, crashing down, prompting Iris to leap. While neither of them fell, their balance precariously depended on that ring, about to snap at any moment. Unfortunately, that heavenly ring chose to glide away, as if it was fulfilling its slippery fate. It turns out all that just happened was the nightmare of a girl named Steven, and this nightmare had plagued her for a long time. The strangest part? Iris in her dream was actually her grandma. She remembered her grandma alive, yet dreamed of her dying young. On her roommate's advice, Steven decided to visit her grandma. However, she had only seen her grandma's photos, never met her in person. When she told her dad at home, Dad didn't know where grandma lived either, but suggested she might need to ask her uncle for information. So, Steven quickly went to her uncle's house, ready to gather intel on grandma. Surprisingly, her uncle bluntly warned her not to seek grandma after she told him her intentions. Apparently, in her uncle's eyes, her mother Iris was a legendary nutcase. Not only did she keep Steven and her sister locked up as kids, but she'd also go on about death and stuff all the time. Fortunately, with some intervention, Steven and her sister escaped this chaos. After settling down, they thought it was all behind them, but little did they know, crazy mom still knew their address and kept sending letters filled with those spine-chilling words. To avoid her, their uncle kept moving, hoping Steven wouldn't pursue the grandma idea anymore. Watching her uncle be so adamant, Steven was tormented deeply by her nightmare. She played the sympathy card. "Can I see those weird letters if I skip grandma?" After Steven's persistent requests, her aunt finally relented and handed her the letters. As she flipped through them, she accidentally found out her grandma's address. So using that clue, Steven hit the road solo towards the location. Little did she expect her grandma lived in such an isolated place, taking her a long drive to finally locate her grandma's house. But this house looked exceptionally eerie, filled with sharp objects like it was warding off something. Through the surveillance, Steven explained her identity and intentions, leading grandma to finally open the door and let her in. To her surprise, the inside was filled with bizarre shapes, most of which were sharp. This scene reminded Steven of her uncle's previous warning. Could it be that grandma really was a nut? Despite her inner turmoil, to rid herself of the nightmare, she bravely stepped inside. As grandma welcomed her in, a fire extinguisher fell at the entrance, drawing attention. For in Final Destiny, nothing falls by chance. Grandma was quite excited to see Steven, asking about her mother, but Steven hadn't seen her in ages. It turned out her parents had separated for many years. Upon learning this, grandma felt a bit sad, but still asked Steven if she came because of those letters Steven stopped hiding, sharing how she had been tormented by the same nightmare for months. She asked grandma what it meant, why she kept dreaming of her passing away decades ago. Older Iris slowly replied that she had a premonition of her death back then too. However, upon realizing, she fought hard to stop it all. Not only did she snatch the coin from the boy's hand, but she also dashed on stage to stop everyone's contract. Thanks to her loud intervention, hundreds due for death were saved, but she underestimated death's power. Turns out her stopping couldn't change death's plans. Those meant to survive still faced various mishaps, her husband included. Now she was the sole fighter against death. After saving so many, she found herself with deadly cancer and not much time left. So she wished to pass her wisdom to the next, sparing her descendants death's designs. Iris handed Steven a thick file, hoping she'd stay. Knowing grandma wanted her to stay during her last moments, Steven directly refused. She was just a student and didn't want to waste her youth here. After saying this, she bid grandma farewell and exited the room. Iris wanted to stop her, but felt something was off the moment she stepped forward. In that instant, she sensed how she would die. Stepping outside would mean certain death. For the sake of her descendants, she had to make a choice. She stepped outside, blocking Steven's path. To make her granddaughter believe, Iris emphasized the file's importance, then decided to disclose her own death method. She chose to share her death method with her granddaughter to protect the next generation, aiming to use her life to show her the tragedy of death's survival. Please stay tuned to our channel and don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep in touch with us.